Necromancer. So, let's start with a brief overview of this game while the intro flashes behind me. Think about every single giant robot that you've ever known in your entire life. Now imagine if they were all together in one game. That's essentially what this game does. It takes all of the other genres, Gundam, Ava, Magical Girls, whatever, and attempts to parody them in one giant game. And it's a fighting game, and it's great. But why does no one know about it? I don't know. So I'm here to review this gym. So let's talk about gameplay before we get into what's good and what's bad. It offers several modes. First of all is story mode, and then there's obviously versus. The Technodome is where you can unlock lots of new stuff, and that's basically it. But if you go to the Tatsunami Technodome, there's so much stuff to unlock. And you'll see a little bit about the complexity of story mode when you go and look at a story character map and see that every character has tons and tons of different options, which is really, really cool. Now,
a brief look into story mode with this clip. It basically works with there's a voice acted scene, and then your character has their episode, which is when you fight the battle, and you can often have some decisions which can determine where your story path leads, which is kind of, really neat. Battles are pretty simple. There's a damage bar and an armor percentage, which determines how much armor your character still has. If your armor disintegrates, then you take more damage. And this is different per character as, tougher mecha like the tank, obviously, are hard to get down and have really high defense, which is really neat. And, I mean, the game's story mode is so complex and so in-depth that it is entirely worth it. It's not like games now, like Soul Calibur 4, where there was a story mode, but it barely did anything. No. Every character has a unique story. And even when, if you look through this character select screen, some of these have multiple pilots. Each pilot has a different story, even if it's for the same mecha, which is really cool. And then there's also a Hero Challenge tournament mode, but that's not nearly as fun as story mode. So that's really neat, and like I said, it's totally different for each character. And really what adds to this game's charm and its fun is that each character is so different because all of them have different items, different ways of fighting, totally different styles, some silly stories, serious stories. That's really what gives the game its charm. It's like playing a ton of different games in one. But there are bad things. For instance, what's going on right now. This is the final boss. He can teleport, he's really fast, and you have to beat him 4 times without regaining your health. This is a serious problem as it leads to problems with the rest of the game. The boss is really, really difficult and almost impossible for some of the slower machines. You can do it, but it takes a lot out of you. And you also lose points for every time you restart. And it stops your ability to get, alternate endings. So several things happen. When you're trying to unlock new stuff in the Tatsumi Technodome, you can't because you don't have enough points. The only other way to earn points is through the VMU games. And if your VMU is broken or you don't find the games engaging enough to get the points you need, then you won't be able to unlock that new pilot you wanted, or the new characters you wanted, or the new endings that you wanted. Which is why I haven't unlocked that stuff, which is kind of a serious drawback. The other thing is character-specific beef. Like, there's a transforming robot. You should be able to transform in battle, but you can't. You have to just select a different character at the onstart, which is kind of lame. And then there's also other things, like some characters have different modes and others don't, which is, adds to uniqueness, but sometimes kind of unfair when you're facing them as a boss. And the only last real thing that is a problem is graphics. Even for its time, these graphics are a little weak. Because if you think about what also came out, Dead or Alive, 2, Soul Calibur, Shenmue, these were, a little dated. But that, in the long run, it really didn't matter because the game is so much fun that you really don't even notice. So in the end, does a sort of flawed unlockable system ruin the entire game, along with a couple of graphics issues? No, not really. I'd say it's a lot of fun, and that the fun would definitely outweigh any of the negative portions of this review. Also, maybe you think the final boss is easy, and maybe I'm just incompetent. I don't know. Who knows? But, you should definitely try and get this game. They still sell it on eBay, and I'm sure there's other creative ways that you can get it. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Capcom, look into my eyes. Sequel.